Good day, everyone. This is Junaid Khan, a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and also representing clients to Immigration Refugee Board of Canada. In this video, we're going to be talking about a couple of updates happened in the month of August 2025. There are a few which are very important. For the people who wanted to come to Canada, become a permanent resident, and there are some topics which are going to be important for the people who are already in Canada and looking for their immigration programs. Let's just talk about the topics we're gonna be discussing in this video, and then I will explain every single one of them in some time, so that you'll get a brief background and forwarding what's going to happen with this information. So first topic is going to be the increased settlement funds for Atlantic Immigration Program. Then we're going to be talking about surge in refusals for the profiles where the spouses are non-accompanying to Canada. The third, we will also talk about the proposed regulatory amendments clarifying examination obligation, happened in August 12, which is today. We will also going to talk about some timelines, immigration IRCC updates regarding the citizenship grants, PR card or PR card renewal. The next topic is also going to be about the immigration draws. The express entry draws happened back to back on August 6, 7, and 8. And we will also talk about some information related to these topics. So let's talk about the first thing. Increased settlement funds for Atlantic Immigration Program. So if you are submitting your application to AIPP, Atlantic Immigration Program, that means you're gonna have to find out the right amount of settlement funds to show IRCC. The update happens on August 4, 2025, and they have increased the settlement funds for 12.5% compared to the previous settlement funds mentioned on the IRCC website. So now it is very important, and IRCC normally sends an email to all of the applicants as well who are already in the pool to update update the settlement fund according to the updates. And if you have not submitted your application till now, you're gonna have to check the updated amount for the number of family members you are. I mean, if you look at the chart, it's very easy to understand that if you're the only person applying for AIPP, how much settlement funds you have to show. If you have a family of two, your partner, or if you have children, so how much settlement funds you need to show immigration in regards to the Atlantic Immigration Program. Minded that IRCC does update for the express entry as well. A couple of weeks ago, that every single of my client received the email from IRCC. I myself received an email from IRCC saying that they have now changed the settlement fund for the program. So everybody has to update, going back to their profiles and update them, and they also have to update in their bank accounts as well. Plus, if you have not submitted your application, make sure you submit it according to the new one. Most of my clients ask for one very simple question, that we are applying for an express entry, we're applying for a permanent residency. Why these settlement funds are important? I mean, we understand that if somebody is coming to Canada on a study permit, this is very obvious that IRCC or Immigration or Canada needs to know that if you're coming as a student, there's a cost for your education, then there's a cost of living, and then you have to have other expenses as well. So you have to show the bank statement, or previously in STS program, IRCC asked to send around 20,635 to Canada as for the settlement funds, basically to show Canada that you are capable of taking care of your education as well as your living cost in Canada, which makes sense because you are temporarily coming to Canada. You have to have the funds. You're not really getting all the benefits while being a Canadian permanent resident or a citizen. So if you are not getting all the perks of like medical and the other taxes and all that stuff, so make sure you have the funds available. But if somebody is coming to Canada on a permanent residency, I mean, they have all the benefits. As long as they come here, they become a permanent resident. After becoming permanent resident, you have a free medical. If you have kids, their education is free. There's so many other benefits you can get. But if you're getting all of these as soon as you enter, then why resettlement funds? So the answer is very easy. It is not very easy to get here and find a job right away. You know, there are many fields where people are getting laid off. There are many fields where people, are not finding a job depending on your occupation. Plus, I mean, it is very simple to understand. Like if you are even moving from one city to another city, there's a cost. There's a moving cost, and then once you get there, you need a lot of stuff. You need to settle down a little bit. If you have kids, you need more money, and it is not necessarily that you will find a job right away. So maybe if, let's suppose, if you are getting a job, or you need your source of income doesn't start for like 2 or 3 months. Canada needs to make sure, IRCC needs to make sure that you're not knocking on the government doors to get funded or get aids or get loans and stuff. You make sure you have a settlement funds available so that you can settle down in Canada, find a job, find a source of income, and then eventually build yourself and build your life in Canada. So this is why settlement funds are important, and the settlement funds are rising as well. I mean, 12.5% for AIPP. A couple of weeks ago, there was a little hike in for the express entry profiles as well. That clearly shows you need more money now. That clearly shows things are getting a little expensive over here. The rents are a little expensive over here. The cost of living is getting a little expensive. So, these are the hints you need to know when you migrate to Canada. So this is one thing. So if you're applying for the Atlantic Immigration Program, you need to make sure that happens in August 4. So you need to make sure that you are applying with the updated version of the settlement funds, and make sure those funds are available in your bank account. Moving forward to next topic, which I feel like it's been in the news, and it's been in, for the client for a very long time now, and people are really getting scared about it too, but nothing to scare about. Let's talk about that. The point is the surge in refusals for those applicants who have mentioned their spouses are non-accompanying. Let's go in a little bit of background of this. I mean, this is not illegal. You have not made a mistake, and this is not something that you shouldn't be doing if this is really the case. Because once you start your application for express entry, IRCC has given you the option. When you put yourself married, I mean, this is really the beginning of the application. If you put yourself as a married person, the next question is always going to be that, is your spouse accompanying you to Canada? And there are options of yes or no. Even if you put no, you can still proceed with the application, and you can still apply for it. So if the option is there, that simply means putting no to that question is not going to be an issue. It doesn't make you ineligible right away. But the problem rises is, what IRCC thinks about this is like that some people are taking advantage of this one particular question. Because if you look at the point system, there are many times, if you're adding your spouse as accompanying, or if you're adding your spouse into your express entry system, you'll be subject to lose some points, depending on the age, education, work experience, and English proficiency. Sometimes when you add your spouse into the application, your spouse or your partner is bringing the overall profile a little down, which means you have less chances now to basically get an ITA. And honestly, to get an ITA, there's a fight for tiny points, like 1 point or 2 point. I've seen myself, some people are didn't get the ITA just because of like 2 points less than the ITA. To gain those points, some people are taking this as an advantage to say no to the accompanying spouse, and then they have now the better points, eventually receive an ITA. And when apply for the permanent residency application, they are now getting the procedural fairness letters from IRCC. And most of the time, when you even respond to that procedural fairness letter with all the information and documentation, you still didn't get the positive response from the RCC, and RCC is refusing a lot of application and a lot of procedural fairness letter. So you have to be just careful. If you are in the situation where the spouse is not accompanying, that's okay, but you should be able to make it understandable, make it easy, or make it convincing for the immigration officer that why is that so. um when we're talking about the refusals for the non-accompanying spouse, most of the time these are the application where the applicant and the partner and the spouse are already in Canada. Outside is a different story. There are many things like, I have seen in the previous application where the spouses are a businessman and cannot really wrap up the business and become a PR and start living in Canada. So they need some time. Fine. But if you're already in Canada and you're not adding your spouse because of the point system, how it works and the calculation, you should be able to make it understandable for IRCC. If you do so, that's good. But if you do not have a right explanation for the procedural fairness letter or any documentation to support your claim that why your spouses are non-accompanying, RCC is sending a lot of refusals. So make sure when you do your application, you take care of all of these points. Instead of adding points, taking this as a loophole, make sure you do something else too. There are many ways to increase your points. But if there's a genuine reason that your spouse is non-accompanying, you will be able to make it understandable for the immigration officer. Now going forward to the third topic, proposed regulatory amendments clarifying examination obligation happened on August 12th, which is today. IRCC released a draft of its forward regulatory plan for 2025 to 2027. Most of the things happening in these days are basically from 2025 to 2027, which includes a proposal to clarify when foreign national holding immigration documentation are expected to comply with examination requirements under the IRPA. The goal is to reinforce border integrity and ensure only genuine application, those adding values to Canada, are permitted entry. This is very important, and I have witnessed one of my clients even last week. I'm not going to talk about the whole story in this video. I'll make another video for that. But the question was that the visitor client was actually detained at the port of entry at Pearson Airport by CBSA. You must understand one thing, that IRCC and the CBSA now have the authority to cancel the document you have, which means cancel the visa. They have authority to give you entry for the specific period of time, not the 6 months. They have authority to cancel and withdraw your application. They have authority to ask for more documentation. They have authority to cancel your visa at the port of entry, maybe while your visa was good and intact and you were able to travel to Canada, but they can do that at the port of entry in Canada and send you back on the next flight. I have many clients coming in. I have to pick one of my clients from the airport today as well. But you have to have all the documentation in hand. That why are you coming? You have, if you're visiting Canada on a visit visa, you have to have a return ticket. Do not make these kind of blunders. Plus, if they ask you for any documentation, you have those documentation handy. If they're asking for any further question, take you to the examination room and ask you multiple questions over there. You should know, your application. Most of the time, what I have seen is, people have their visas approved, but they do not even know what was the basis of their visas while applying. I have seen people, they do not have their credentials for the GCK. I know people, they do not know on what basis their applications have been applied to their consultants and agents. So if you don't know that, And once you land to the port of entry or airport in Canada, the officer, the CBSA officer or the immigration officer can ask you multiple questions. And this is what's going on these days. Even though the client I dealt with, the CBSA 2 days ago, she had a family in Canada, a son and a daughter, and both of them are married and they have their families, a brother in Canada. So while having all of these relations in Canada, the travel was very legit, but still CBSA detained them and then give them a documentation to send back the very next day. So we had a hearing at the CBSA office in Pearson Airport, and luckily and thankfully that we'll be able to get the passport back, and they didn't cancel the visa, and the client was now in Canada and have a legal stay for 6 months and come back again. But you have to be very careful about that, and this is what's been going on. Even though if you have a valid visa, you should be prepared while coming to Canada at the port of entry, because now CBSA and the immigration offices have authority to change the circumstances. Going forward to the next topic, IRCC updates about the citizenship application grants, the PR card renewals, and the actual PR card. There are updates in the timelines. So right now on August 6th, IRCC updated the timeline for the citizenship grant, which is now 10 months, a lot better than before. But yet again, before we talk about the timelines, I would like to tell everyone here is the timeline mentioned by the IRCC is not like the whatever days and months they have mentioned. That doesn't mean that exactly on those days or exactly on those months and weeks you'll have your application resolved or done by IRCC. But this is just the tentative times. There are high chances that you will get your documents or your citizenship or your PR card before the time IRCC mentioned, and there are high chances that you'll get after too. But according to August 6th updated timeline estimates, citizenship grant is about 10 months. If you're applying for the new PR card, if you just landed having landing papers in hand and you're applying for the PR card at the port of entry, you are expected to wait about 40 days to get your PR card delivered. One more thing here, sometime IRCC is sending you letters. I have received them as well, for two of my clients, that they have sent the letters that they need the updated addresses or some of the information and the forms to fill up and send them back again. That delays the process a little bit, but according to the new timeline, 40 days, down 5 days, which means that it was supposed to be 45 days before. Now according to the updates, is 40 days now. If you are renewing your PR card, now 28 days, it was 21 days before. Now they've added 7 days to the renewal of the PR card. Most of the time when people are renewing their PR card, they're doing at the very last day. Do not do that. And if you have any travel plans with your PR card, make sure you renew your PR card and then leave Canada, because the PRTD application takes time as well. If you are outside Canada and your PR card expires, you cannot come back to Canada on an expired PR card. There's a separate application you're supposed to be applying, which is PRTD, Permanent Resident Travel Document. That takes time and eventually might mess up with your travel plans. Important. Let's talk about the draws happen in the month of August, back to back, 3 draws, August 6th, August 7th, and August 8th. August 6th, there was a provincial nominee draw. 225 ITA, score was 739. Good score. Good number of ITAs. I would say it could have been a lot more, but 739, and congratulations who have received the ITAs. There is one information for the combination of all the draws, and then we'll talk about after when I tell you the ITAs as well. So August 7th, there was a Canadian Experience class, CC specific, 1000 ITAs, good numbers, 534 CRS cutoff, a little high. um, I have a lot of expectations were like, a lot of heartbreaking on this CEC draw. A lot of people were expecting to drop down a little bit in the CEC, especially when there was a huge hype when 50 points were dropped, in express entry, that the LMIA people are not really getting a 50 points additional. There was the people for the CEC who have the application to see, they were very happy that CRS, the cutoff, is going to drop. 534, a little too high, and it is higher than the last draw. But if you have seen, if you look into a couple of draws in the last couple of months from the CEC, it's like a sine chart is going up and it's going down, up and down, up and down. Now expectations are higher for the next draw, that because it was 534 this time, it's going to drop, or a lot of drop in the upcoming draws, and I hope it happens. But congratulations for the 1,000 applicants who have received their the ITAs. Next draw happened August 8th, French speaking proficiency, 2,500 ITAs issued. Good number, very good number. A cutoff was 481. A lot of people are not happy about it. Okay, so let's talk about that. I have, in my consultations, I always tell people to basically submit your application whenever it's ready. Do not hold off your application in your laptops, in your system, that we're gonna bring our points a little better and then we'll apply. We have to understand how express entry pool works. It's not first come first serve. It's higher your points, better your chances to receive an ITA. Plus, you have to understand the immigration plan for next couple of years as well, from 25 to 27, dropping down. The immigration plans are dropping, becoming stricter and stricter. And if you're talking about the express entry system, the pure application, exactly they're matching with the plans. If the plan is to bring lower people than 2024, 2023, definitely the CRS is gonna be higher, and there's a plan to basically bring the people who have good skills and good education and good English proficiency and French proficiency. That means if there are people higher in the pool, they have a better chance to get in, and it's become stricter. 481 people were not expecting that to happen. The expectation was somewhere 450, or it started with 300 something. But I hope it drops down a little bit. But 2,500 ITAs is a good number of ITAs. So basically, if we round up the month of August, there are in total 3,725 ITAs issued, and good luck and congratulations to everyone who received the ITA. Now, the important point for those who have received the ITAs already is, make sure that you do not make any mistake in your permanent residency application. You have 60 days to apply. Utilize those days, check your application, not once, not twice, not thrice, 10 times. I'm telling you one thing, I've witnessed this as well. One of my clients, that if you make a tiny mistake in your application, IRCC is getting really strict now. They're not gonna ask you, hey, you made a mistake, can you send us again? Not at all. At this point, no. You made a mistake, refusal of the application. That's it. They'll let you know this is the mistake you have made, refuse your application. Now, just think about the 225 people who received an ITA from the provincial nominee. Their applications are coming in from the nomination. So you have received the ITA because of the nomination, not the direct express entry profile. Now, if you receive, God forbid, if any of the person received the refusal in the PR application, the nomination is subject to expire, right? Let's take an example, Ontario. So if Ontario has given you nomination, you receive a 600 point from Ontario. Now, definitely you spend some time for your application, you put in your application 1 month, 60 days to submit the application, the nomination time is shrinking at the same time. If someone received a refusal from the IRCC, the process is not going to be very easy. First of all, you have spent a lot of time um, to get to this point of the invitation. You submit your express entry, you receive the expression of interest, then you apply for the Ontario nomination. Ontario took 1 year. I know that I have multiple clients in the Ontario and some received the nomination as well. 1 year Ontario takes. God forbid you receive an ITA and you apply for the permanent residency. Now you're at the very last 10% of your application. 90% of your work is already being done. Receive a refusal on the PR application, you are going back to Ontario nomination. Your express entry profile will get expired. You have to apply the express entry again, right? Talk to the Ontario now, and Ontario will tell you that, let us know what IRCC told you, why they refused your application, and we then take a decision that if you can shift your nomination from the previous express entry filed in the job seeker court to the new one. This is a haunting email. I mean, what if, because of the refusal of the IRCC, Ontario needs more documentation, and which they do. If they ask for no more documentation, there's further delays in your application. And then if Ontario decide not to give you nomination again, it's going to be very heartbreaking. So what I'm trying to tell you, you have 60 days. You receive a nomination August 6th. You have 60 days to submit your PR application. Check it 10 times. Sometimes there are two type of clients. Normally clients, if I'm talking about my consultancy, clients need to submit their application within 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. We are free. We're going to take a day off from work. Let's sit down, submit the application. I don't do that. I don't work like that. I'm going to do it in a good pace. And I normally show everything to my clients. Check the forms once, twice, thrice, no spelling mistake. Make sure whatever you have put in your express entry profile matches your PR application, matches your nomination. Because a tiny mistake, a tiny hurry in the application can collapse the whole building. So make sure you check your application 10 times before you submit. And I'm not telling you to submit at the last moment. Don't wait for the 59th day to submit your application. There might be a maintenance on the portal, and then everything collapses again. So good time, spend good time on your application. When you are satisfied, when you are good with your application, submit it. Make sure make no mistakes. IRCC is not giving chances anymore, so make no mistakes again. Going forward, let's talk about the last thing, which is like for the students who are coming to Canada. Make sure you take good time to pick up your admissions in time. January intake is open. I have seen some refusals for the students where IRCC is not very happy with the financials. So make sure, because SDS is not there, so you cannot really submit the GIC and get it over with. Make sure you provide all of the right documentation for the funds. The bank statement should be very clear. If there are big transactions in your statement, make sure you tell IRCC where the funds are coming from. If there is a sponsor, your mother, your parents, or your uncle, or whoever it is, make sure you have a letter from that sponsor as well. And submit your application. Study permit, 50% are already down from the last year, but there are good chances to for the upcoming September and the January intake. Good luck for the students who have applied their application for September intake, and January intake admissions are open. Good thing is there are many institutes and colleges that are offering scholarships for a lot of international students as well. So this is sort of like a roundup for the first 10 days of the August. I am planning to do a weekly roundup where we will talk about all the policy changes, updates, and notices by the immigration in Canada. And we'll do that every week going forward, inshallah. And then I'll try to keep you guys updated as much as I can. Thank you and good luck.